led visionary leaders create legacy of impact and income through the channel of entrepreneurship and do more good in the world. You will get access to all our amazing speakers today and walk away with great wisdom and inspiration so that you can level up yourself and your business to the next level.
All right, everybody, who's ready to level up? I know we're still in Christmas mode. A lot of us are getting ready for the holidays, so we're not thinking of leveling up maybe yet, but the new year is just rolling around the corner. So I'm so excited to be back with you with another amazing event here at the Life School, where I just invite so many inspirational speakers that are doing amazing work out there in the world, and they pretty much their work is their vocation. And I can't wait to introduce them each one by one to you today, and the new audiences that are joining us in the effort to really share inspiration and also information that I know will help you level up to the next level with your leadership and also all the good that you're doing in the world through building your company. So thank you again so much for joining us today. Before I bring on my amazing speakers onto the stage, I'd love to remind you that the Life School helps purpose-driven leaders to build a legacy company that does good in the world through the operations of branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team. Our vision is to empower purpose-driven entrepreneurs and leaders to use their life's purpose through the channel, I should say, of legacy entrepreneurship. And then our mission is to become the most influential global community in purposeful entrepreneurship. And then finally, our values are community connection, service, and contribution. So without further ado, I would love to bring my amazing guest speakers today, people that are new to our community, but also, of course, amazing connections that I've made over time. I've put a lot of effort and energy into building relationships. So I'm so grateful that they're joining us with their time globally today. And I can't wait to introduce them to you also and the work that they're doing out there in the world. So I'll start with Dan McQueen. Dan, thank you so much for coming on, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. So if you could share some of the most meaningful moments that you really feel compelled to share with us that led you to the work that you're doing today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with the audience, so thank you so much. I think mine is best done through a brief story, if I may. Would that be okay if I share a story with your group?
Absolutely.
So, there's nothing like a brain hemorrhage to refocus the mind. On June 21st, 2014, in jolly old London, England, I suffered this hemorrhage. After 4 weeks in a coma, I was left learning how to walk, how to talk, and how to smile again. I want to share a story about learning to walk in Tooting Broadway. Now, let me paint the scene for you in case you're unfamiliar with Tooting Broadway. Tooting Broadway is an area in South London, an area they call up and coming. Think loud sirens, drugs, gangs. It's dirty, it's hectic, and boys are busy. I'm walking with a cane, I'm walking with an eye patch. After 4 months in a wheelchair, I'm really Bambi on ice. I turned the corner to walk on the high street of Tooting Broadway for the first time. Immediately get slammed into by someone. I stagger back a few feet. Someone scurries past me on the right-hand side. I thought I was done with the rats. Someone had been stabbed on the sidewalk back here. I'm thinking, this is a pretty wild place to learn how to walk. After a few days of this, I was thinking, this is the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Can't they see I'm trying to walk here? Can't they see I'm trying here? And then one day my perspective shifted. Maybe this isn't the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Maybe this is the best. If I can walk here, I can walk anywhere. Now, Tooting Broadway didn't change, right? But it went from the worst to the best in my mind, and my mood reflected that. What are you looking at in your life you're convinced is the worst? Convinced is the absolute worst. Hey, maybe it is. Maybe you can find a way to turn down the suck a little bit. Shift that perspective a little bit. Iron Mike Tyson famously said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Now, your punch may not be a brain hemorrhage. It will be a job loss, a breakup, a diagnosis for you, a loved one. You will take that punch in the mouth. How do you respond? I'm offering a compass, not a map, but a compass. It always points towards true north. We're looking at mindset, perspective, and hacks. Hacks that will allow you and your team to be better than yesterday and tomorrow. My name's Dan McQueen, and the reason why I told you that story about learning to walk and tune Broadway is when you change the way you look at the world you look at changes. And you don't need a brain hemorrhage to understand that. That's my short little story for you.
Dan, thank you so much. I could so relate to the story that you just shared with us, an amazing storytelling ability as well. And I would love to ask you, what is it that, what is the work that you do daily? What is it that you like to share with us today?
Yeah, thanks. So I'm a speaker by day. I'm speaking to organizations, groups, and associations across North America and Europe. And I'm doing that to share an impact of hope and perspective. My game plan is to change the way you look at the world. And by sharing my story and my experience, I hope to hopefully shift your perspective and allow you to see the light side of things and maybe shift the perspective a little bit, right? The worst, not the best. That mindset shift, once it gets hooked in your mind, you can do unbelievable things, which is very key and very important. So thank you for asking the question.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. And I love that perspective shift for sure, especially as we're heading into 2024 and all the global events that are really happening. And, you know, for many people, it's hard out there to even focus on some of the things that they're doing, right? Because they might be even closely affected or maybe passively affected by some of the things that are going on. So, what is your advice for the people on our audience? What are some mindset shifts that you could share with us as we're heading into 2024 that you really feel like will help people to stay focused on their purpose, stay focused on the things that they can control, and kind of avoid some of the negative, I guess, influence that it's so easy to receive when you kind of look out and see what's happening out there?
Yeah, great question. In fact, you touched on it with that question. Control what you can control. Control the controllables. That's one like lesson I wish I had passed on to your audience is control the controllables. If you can get that mindset through your vibe, it'll make life a lot easier and less stressful. There's also one still through line used through my talk I'd like to share with your group, and that's it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. And that's not me, that's Epictetus, an OG Stoic philosopher. If you can get that mindset instilled in your vibe, hey, there's no real time where you can go. You can take this anywhere you want to go.
Yeah. But it's I mean, I understand that obviously it's easy to listen to that, but how do we start applying that? Do you have any tips to start applying those mindset shifts that you shared with us?
Yeah, for sure. So I call this fostering resiliency. And how can you foster resiliency? Well, you can foster resiliency by keeping promises to yourself. And what I mean by this is like if I say I'm going to go for a walk, I used to live in Haringey in London, okay, called the Haringey Ladder. And every morning I'd walk for 1 block, then 2 blocks, then 3 blocks, then 4 blocks, then 5 blocks. I'd stack this up week after week, month after month. I would say year after year, but I think I only lived there for a year. And I'd build this undeniable stack of evidence that says I do what I say I'm going to do. Outwork your self-doubt. Show that you do what you say you're going to do. And that way you can foster resiliency and you can also address the difficult stuff in your life, knowing that you do what you say you're going to do. So fostering resiliency is quite a big part of this vibe, and I think something that will help your audience tremendously.
Yeah, and it's so simple, right? But obviously, just like anything, it's not more information, it's that application or implementation, I think, that really blocks most people from having the results that they want, or even being, happy and fulfilled with their daily lives. I think at the end of the day, that's really the goal for us as humans, to be able to do that. But yeah, baby steps, baby steps. Everyone is where they are, but I think awareness is where everything starts, right, and begins. So kind of sit with yourself and figure out what are some of those things that you want to intentionally think on purpose, so that after we think, then obviously we also take action based on that. So it's all a great process. Dan, thank you so much for sharing your story, and also the amazing, a little bit of a piece of, I guess, one of the topics that you also speak on. So I'm going to come back to you at the end for more information there. So I appreciate everything you just shared with us so far.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, moving on to my next guest speaker is going to be Maria Press. Maria also helps people elevate their speaking. So, Maria, welcome. Thank you so much for being here, and also looking forward to having you share some of the most meaningful moments that led you to this work that you're doing today.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Marla Press. I'm called Maria at least half the time, but it's Marla. And yes, and Dan, thank you so much for sharing that story. That really touched me, and shifting your perspective is so important. So thank you for being here and for your stories. Stories are so important. For me, it wasn't one pivotal moment that happened. It was my whole life was going all different twists and turns. If any of you are listening out there, and even if you're watching the replay, just put yes in the chat if your life has taken some turns back and forth and zigzagged instead of going from one thing and pivoting and staying in another lane the whole time, because that's kind of how life is, right? But for me, growing up, I had a lot of trauma that I had to deal with. And so I also noticed that I had something unusual in that I had out of body experiences and I had visions of things before they happened. And I don't have that as much anymore. But what it did is it created this amazing curiosity for me to find out about how the world works. And I was always so curious. I went to school and got a degree in psychology because I was so interested in not only human behavior, but how things work that you can't explain with science or sometimes even in words. So that's where I went. And I did a lot of, I'm a life coach. I did a lot of therapy for people on some pretty intense topics. But then I started doing speeches for dental practices and other medical professionals. And what I found was I was an entertainer and I had high energy and I could bring a lot to the stage, but I wasn't connecting with people. I wasn't having that vulnerability, that V word, and finding the way to balance the connection and the performance was something that I really had to figure out. And I did something called the art of feminine presence, which is now the art of masculine and feminine. So I just call it the art of presence. And it is amazing, amazing work. And so I got certified to teach that. And now I bring all of that, my psychology background, my intuition, my art of presence training, energy work, and bring all of that into my speaker coaching. And it's transformative so quickly. And why is this important? Because most of us are speakers, even if you don't own your own business, even if you don't call yourself, oh, I'm a speaker, that's how I make my living. If you're on a team, if you're a leader, if you own a business, for sure, you have to become an exceptional speaker, stand out from the crowd, because the field is becoming more and more crowded. There's 800% increase in coaches and consultants and people going out and wanting to not work for the big companies anymore and have their own business. It's so crowded. And that's great because people need you, whatever you're offering. People need it. There's a plenty of abundance of an audience, but you still got to stand out. You have to find a way to wow the audience and to connect so people want more of you.
Well, Marla, I love that you said that. You started off with saying that life is a zigzag journey, not necessarily a straight line to the work we do, and through our challenges, we learn to overcome those, and then that becomes a vocation somehow. It's pretty amazing to even see. But yeah, I so completely agree with the fact that, you know, with all these new channels now, we have more opportunities to share the things that we really feel compelled in the way that we want to create impact. And speaking is powerful. I mean, there's only two ways that we can really relay the information that we have learned, whether it's through speaking or writing, right? So it's a powerful channel to learn, and also to be able to improve yourself as a speaker over time and a communicator, whether in your business, you're with your team, you're with your family, your friends, right? I think it's a skill that you apply everywhere. So
I'm glad you brought that up, because that is so true. These communication skills that I teach help you in your personal life. Yeah, with your spouse, your partner, your bestie friend, your kids. It helps everywhere to have. What I really focus on is not what you say, because what you say is only 10% of communication. It's 20% your tone, and it's a whopping 70% your energy. And that's your body language, your facial expression, your passion, your confidence, and it's your energy. And it's so important to know how to master your energy.
You hit the nail in the head with the energy piece. So that would be my question, Marla. Based on the framework you have created on the feminine and masculine energy that you mentioned, and that presence, which I think is important, and the connection piece, because I think that's the most important piece. When people connect with us, we can build that know, like, and trust factor faster with them. So then we could start supporting or serving them faster, right? So it's all that process of how we also build relationships as humans. So what can you share with us? How can we improve our presence, our feminine and masculine energetic presence, I guess I can call it, while also, connecting better with the audience?
Yeah, that's such a great question, because it's not really something you can intellectualize about, saying, okay, now I'm going to be more connective. Now I'm going to be more present. I teach you through experience. So I take you through exercises to get out of this head energy where our to-do list is, and our critical mind is, and our cluttered brain is, and bring that energy into your full body. And when you speak and communicate from this place, I call it sometimes the home space, where it's the essence of who you are, not your identity or what you've done. It's this essence. And if you speak and communicate from there, it's amazing how that automatically connects you more. And then when you're on a stage, there's, Zoom room, whatever platform you're on, to be able to hook your audience is really important. Getting attention. Attention is the greatest currency. You got to get attention, even if it's, in your personal life, right? People are half listening. They're so busy and their mind's so cluttered. How do you get attention? There's several ways that are great to do that. You got to wow people from the beginning. You got to do something that's unusual. You have to involve and engage your audience. All of those things are really, really helpful. And if I had more time, I'd go through a lot more specifics of that. But those are ways to both wow your audience and connect with them. Speak from this. People say speak from the heart, and I totally get that, speak from the heart. But I help people to speak from the heart and the gut, which I call your home space. When you do both, it's really, really powerful and authentic.
I love that. Connect the heart with the gut. I never heard of that before, because I usually do say speak from the heart myself, because I find that when you are not pressuring yourself is where the best message comes out, and you can connect with people. When you're not worrying about yourself and you're just kind of in the moment, present, sharing what you share with passion, anything, right? I think that's the best, at least speaking, that has impacted me. When I hear that, I could see myself in the speakers. I think that's the success there on the other side. So
I love that. And one of the biggest mistakes speakers make is they want to memorize their speech. And then number one, they're afraid they're going to forget it. So that creates tension. And number two, it comes out as less authentic and a little more robotic. So don't ever memorize your speech. Just, know your material, and you know it. Just have confidence that you know it, and then speak from this heart and gut place. And it's amazing how the content will even change. It becomes more connective, more emotional, and more about the other person.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Marla. I could so relate to that. I think that's really helpful to a lot of the speakers. I mean, again, we're all entrepreneurs and CEOs, and we're natural speakers. Well, not natural, meaning we're born with the skill, we can learn it. But this is such an important skill that I've learned that I didn't know how important it was over the years that I was split between entrepreneurship and in my corporate career as well. So I think it's very powerful. But I love that you said speak from experience. Also, experience does teach you, is the best teacher, repetition. So you start finding your voice, your authentic voice as well. Practice is very powerful as well. And yeah, give me a speech to memorize. I will forget it all and I will just mumbo jumbo my words. But just let me be free, as free spirits as we are, then I'll share things and it will definitely be much better. And who cares if we mess up? That's why we're human. Then we can just make, fun of ourselves.
Yeah.
And then just that's how we get to connect with each other. No need for perfection. I think that holds a lot of people back, including me many years ago. And also the fact that we all have, our limitations with, as far as for me was my accent, somebody else might have another one, right? So I think that's all powerful stuff that you actually help people with this very important process and skill to becoming a better speaker for a graceful presence. I think that's very powerful.
Right.
Thank you
We
so
don't want connection. We don't want perfection. We want connection. That's what we want. We crave connection. Yes, absolutely. And, if someone seems perfect, it's almost kind of a turnoff. It's like because it's not natural. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you for saying that. Yes.
Thank you
And,
for doing the work.
I can say one more thing if I have time, just real quickly, because we brought up the masculine, feminine, and this can be a real hot topic, a real controversial topic. So I don't try and make all women this way and all men that way. It's not at all about that. We explore, are there any parts of this masculine or feminine, and however you identify, it doesn't really matter. Are you subduing any of that? So exploring, because most women in particular subdue some of their femininity because they think it's not valued, it's not right for the workplace, and it doesn't feel good. And when they connect to that feminine part of themselves, and that look very different for every individual. Some women are very feminine, and some women are somewhere in between. And all of that is good as long as you don't subdue any of it. And the other thing is, people think of feminine and masculine as more of the stereotypes, and that's not what it is. These are more qualities. For feminine, for example, it's being in the flow, it's being intuitive, it's being it's not the submissive and the emotional and all that. It's inspiring emotion. It's not emotional like that. So and same with men. People think of dominance and ego. It's not that. It's about being protective. It's about being task oriented. It's about being strong in other ways that are not toxic. So there's a whole bunch we could talk about there, but I know we're not going to get into that. But I just wanted to bring that up because I know it piqued, for some of you listening out there, it piqued your curiosity, like, what does she mean by that?
Yeah. Well, thank you for touching upon that point. I think it's an important point. And what I've learned is that despite our gender, we have both inside of us, just like our left and right brains. Obviously, we have a few more naturally dominant, but doesn't mean that we can not, also develop the other two sides and leverage both as we need. So that's why we're humans, right? We can develop those other things that obviously if it really helps us tap into some other things as we learn and grow and evolve. So yeah, I absolutely
both.
It's a fascinating topic. Maybe we can come back and maybe do more on that. But I'm always very interested in learning so much more around our energies and how to align both, because these are things that they're not really spoken about a lot. And every time we don't really understand things thoroughly or in depth as humans, we kind of just prejudge it. It's our natural core. I've done the same. So I think, the more education and awareness, the more we can understand how all of these things work. So great stuff. Thank you so much, Marla. Moving on.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's amazing stuff. And the work you're doing is absolutely inspiring. Moving on to my next guest speaker, Arnisha Johnson. Arnisha, thank you so much for coming on. Me and you connected prior, so I can't wait to have you kind of share a few of the most meaningful moments with our audience.
Yes, yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, for the invitation. I really appreciate you reaching out and asking and inviting me to be a part of this platform. I'm super excited to share the stage with such wonderful people. Dan and Marla, thank you for your vulnerability, for sharing, just your story. It is very powerful. Dan, the minute you spoke, I was like, he's on somebody's stage, because just how eloquently you formulated your story was so captivating. And I truly appreciate that as a student, that stepping into speaking engagements more, you taught me so much by so little of what you said, but just how you were able to relay that. So thank you. And Marla, I love energy. I'm really big on energy. So the minute you started speaking about just speaking from heart and gut, I was like, yes, finally someone is connecting those two together, because it's one thing to just speak from your heart. It's another when it just comes from that gut, that intuition that you're like, I need to say this and I need to just go with it. And I 100% agree with you. Subduing yourself is just it's not the case. Like, just unleash all that's within you and let it go. So without further ado, I am Arnisha T. Johnson. I am a mom of 4. So that's why I've been on mute the whole time, because you would literally hear the chaos in the background. I am a wife and an educator by day. So I teach K-5 music. I've been an educator for 9 years now. And I also own a business. So I'm the owner of Manifesting on More. And what we do is we help prepare businesses and organizations to become eligible for funding that yields longevity and success. Now, if you've looked at the recent statistics, 44% of businesses, it jumped from 20 to 44% of businesses dissolve their business after year 1 or by year 1 because of lack of funding and education. And that's a real problem. And I got started not because I wanted to give funding or be a part of the funding industry for businesses. I actually got started out of desperation because I needed money, right? Don't we all? We all, in some point of our lives, need a little extra more cash. Well, mine came in a pivotal moment, very similar to you, Marla. My life was kind of like, yay. But in 2018, I had my daughter, and I realized that my 9 to 5 did not understand or honor or comprehend what it was like to be a parent. I worked with people who were either just graduating out of college, just started serious relationships. And I'm the very first maternal employee. And so they were like, oh, wow, okay, shocker. So it started off well, but then returning back to work was very hard. And I ended up quitting. And I'm not a quitter. I don't even like using as like, yeah, I quit. No. However, that was a moment for me that really just changed and shaped my whole life. Because in the midst of me quitting, I also said yes to what I desired for my life. And that's a total different mindset to be on, that for me, I realized that was a wow moment for the rest of my life. Like, it literally changed the entire trajectory of my life, because in that moment I could have said, I'm a quitter and I have nothing else to do, or I can say I'm going to quit, but you know what, in the midst of me quitting, this is what I want in my life. And at that moment, I wanted to be there for my daughter. I wanted to never miss a moment of those little milestones that, the doctors always ask about, like, is she walking? Is she talking? I didn't want to miss that. I didn't want to miss the events that were happening at her school or her daycare. And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to miss out on money, of course. However, these precious moments are priceless, and I'm not missing out on those. But I need to do something, because the bills aren't going to be like, oh, your daughter is so sweet, we'll save your light bill. No. We'll put it off until next month. She's so cute. No. So what I did was I ended up getting an opportunity from an MLM company. If no one understands what that means, or it's a new language, it's multi-level marketing. And so I used to work with It Works. Shout out to them. I love this hoodie. And I worked with them for about a year and a half. And it was great. It was a great relationship. I was an independent contractor. I got to own my own business. And then what I found out is through my work with them, as I began to work with recruiting and bringing in new people into the organization, I was meeting a lot of entrepreneurs, specifically moms, who wanted to do a bigger or create a bigger vision for their own passion. And it wasn't related to It Works. And so I was kind of stuck in a hard place because I'm pushing them. I'm creating I'm not really creating, but I'm more so of pushing their passion to be these entrepreneurs, but I'm not recruiting them on my end. And so I was like, I don't want to fizz out of this process and connection that I'm making, but I need to also uplift the company that I'm working for. And so I finally realized there's something that I'm missing. There's a business, there's an intermediary connection that I can monetize to still be able to serve these women and also serve me. And so I started my own business. I was like, if I can invest in this MLM, I can invest in myself. And so I started with putting MOM in my notebook. I'll never forget this. And I was like, okay, God, flow through me and tell me, what does this mean? I'm a mom, obviously, so I wanted to start with those letters. And so the word more came first. And it was like, the minute I meet these people, they want more. And if you're watching this, I want you to tell me what you want more of in the comment section. And more for some of the people I met was more funding, more time, more leisure, more this. So more could be defined as anything. So I left it at more. And I'm really big in my life. And what I did some real personal reflection and realized that I have the ability, and it is like innate, I have the ability to call things that I want in life and make them happen. And I was like, okay, well, what is that? Law of attraction, manifesting. Oh, there's my other M, manifesting. Okay, well, what word goes in the middle that actually makes this flow? On. So that's how manifesting on more became. In my first year in business in 2021, I'm not even gonna lie, I was just like, I'm a new entrepreneur out here, so I'm just gonna throw out all my skills and put a price on it. People, if you're watching this, don't do that. Okay, don't let that be you. That just you cannot monetize every single thing you're absolutely capable of. You are going to be burnt out. I've experienced it. You're going to actually make less money. I've experienced it. And it's going to cost you more of a headache than just being specific. And you might even lose out on a major opportunity. I've done that too. The key opportunity that made me change and realize and go back and talk to some mentors and figure out where I really needed to be more specific was when Clubhouse was popular. If anybody was used to Clubhouse, remember that, raise your hand, put a little hand up in the comment if you were the iPhone user. Okay. So when Clubhouse was popular, I got on a Clubhouse with Grant Cardone, the billionaire. And he was like, step up on stage and pitch your business. And I'm bold. I was like, all right, let's go. So I got up there and I'm listening to everybody. And in the midst of their pitches, he's like, great. I want to give you 25,000. Great. I want to connect you with this email address. I want to pour into your business, da, da, da. And I'm just like, my heart was beating. I'm like, here's my chance. So I get up there, it's my turn. And I just start spitting out this mission, vision, value that was just all over the place, very similar to how my business model was. And he stopped me mid-sentence and he goes, I want you to take my free course. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you're giving me something for free? That's a lot. Thank you. So I sat there and I, continued to listen to everybody else who's pitching, and he's still giving out money. And I was like, okay, what did I miss? So I go back and I'm like, you know why you got cut off. You were long-winded. You were all over the place. And think about it from a person who has millions of dollars sitting in their bank account. Am I going to give you funding for an idea that is all over the place? Or am I going to give you funding if your idea is niche specific? If you know what you are going to do, who you impact, and how you serve them? if you can identify the transformation that comes from anyone participating or being a part of your business, if that's you, I'm going to give you funding. And so I went back and I was like, okay, mentor, well, what skill do I have that I can just bring it all in? And I told her about my 12 years of experience in grant writing. And she was like, ma'am, why are you not grant writing? I will literally pay you every day if that is what you do. And I was like, okay, say less. So 2022, and now going into my third year of business, I have been working with over hundreds of entrepreneurs, visionaries, founders to help them not only understand how to prepare their businesses for funding, but also how to find it. And luckily for me, and thankful for the education and experience that I have, I've also been able to help us win. So to date, we've awarded I've been awarded over $75,000 in grants, and I've written over $5 million worth of grants. So I'm just getting started. I'm here to serve our community. And listen, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a visionary, even if you're an idea, you're sitting on an idea and you're like, I really want to just birth this and make it happen. Do not think that this idea can't be launched or can't grow or can't scale without funding because you're doing it out of your pocket alone. Please come 2024, add grants to your funnel stream and let's talk. Because this year that we're coming into, it's time to get granted. So I'm Arnisha T. Johnson, and that's a little bit about how I got here.
All right. Well, you said you're a beginner speaker. Oh my God. Wow. Powerful. I think
It's
just
hard
listening to you.
Hard in the gut.
Yes, exactly. That's what Marla says. She was so right? So it's the journey, and through just you sharing your story, there could be so many nuggets that you could just get out of that for sure. But I wouldn't let you go without getting some wisdom around your area of expertise that you so passionately share with others. So what are some of the most fundamental pieces around funding and grant writing that you can share with our audience as well, that you feel like you repeat over and over with the people that you are also serving, that I think will add value to them as well?
Absolutely. So two big things. Actually, three big things. One of them is making sure that your business is legitimately organized and structured. So that does mean that you have to have your registered entity with your state. That does mean you need your EIN. That does mean that you need to have a virtual business address, or if you have a brick and mortar. It does mean that your professional email needs to be a business email. And this is the biggest one, because I have people who've been in business for years tell me, well, I'm going to use an example. And please, if this is actually I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm not going to use anybody else. So Arnisha T. Johnson at gmail.com is not a professional business email. However, contact us at manifestingonmore.com is. And that's what they look for. And they will rule you out or kick you out of the application if that part is not done well. So I provide a free checklist. Please visit my website or email me or hit me up on Facebook. I provide a free business grant checklist that's imperative to helping you just make sure that you've structured yourself well. And then the second thing is, once you've done that and you're like, okay, what's next, Arnisha? All right, great. Is can you identify your secret sauce? And more importantly, within your secret sauce, can you outline your impact and your transformation? And this has come from my mentor, Willie Franklin, when he mentioned that those two things are what grants or what grantors and funders are ready to throw dollars at, is if there is a business that can identify impact and transformation. And then the last thing is, you can have all of that, but if you don't have a budget, a realistic budget of what you need in order to make whatever program or community footprint or initiative or social impact activity, if you don't have what that looks like financially, you can't convince a funder that you're going to take $20,000 or $1.2 million and spend it wisely. They want to make sure that their investment not only goes to an organization or business owner that is going to make an impact, make a transformation in the community, but they want to make sure that you have good money management skills. And that comes with having a realistic budget outline of what that money is going to do within the community to make a bigger impact, to make a bigger transformation. So those three things are vital to getting you qualified and ready for grants.
Oh my, I love that. So the key takeaway, besides everything you have shared, and definitely share the checklist with us at the end, because I'm sure there's so many people interested in that and learning more about this. But it's like impact and transformation. All the things that are important in the day-to-day work that we do are also going to help us in this
Yes.
area as well. So the articulation of that is powerful and very important. Well, Arnisha, thank you so much for everything you just shared with us and all the amazing work that you do. I can just see through the screen the passion and the fire that you have for what you do. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
Thank you.
All right, beautiful. So I'm welcoming my last guest speaker for the day, which is Dorothy. It's her second time here. So Dorothy Mashburn, she does amazing work in negotiation for sure, but she does so much more than that. So Dorothy, if you could reintroduce yourself for a new audience today, I would love for people to discover you again and all the amazing work that you're doing.
Absolutely, Elona. Thank you so much for the opportunity and having me back. I'm Dorothy Mashburn. I am a negotiator and I teach salary negotiations to women. I'm on a mission to close the gender pay gap. Did you know that women still make 22% less than men for the same job? And that's worse for minorities. So I am a brown individual in corporate America. So we make about, the statistics are 70% to what men make. Black women make about 78% to what men make on an average. When you average it all out, it's 82% of what men make for the same job. So I came to the United States from a small province in the foothills of the Himalayas. I came here for education, and in my part of the world, women have always taken a backseat to men. And it's when I first came to the United States, I was like, I'm going to go to land of the privilege. Everybody's free. Everybody has all of the opportunities that women have to like be quiet about in my province. I came here and realized things are different, but still not that different. Women are still taking a backseat in salaries, in able to get into CEO roles in corporate America. And I looked around. I didn't see many people who looked like me when I was coming up the ranks in corporate America. And I said, I don't have sponsors, I don't have mentors, I don't have any social capital here. And it was very lonely. And for a while, it was like, did I make the right move? I had a lot of questions in my own mind about, should I go back? And but the reasoning that prevailed was, I gotta be the change if I want to see change. And I powered through a lot of disappointments, a lot of seeing people who were working less than me, but who were able to play the game, get ahead, making my manager look better than me, and having him or her take credit for the work that I did. So a lot of disappointments, a lot of trial and error, but I figured it out. I just the part that Dan you mentioned about resilience. I think looking back at my younger self, I think the resilience was there, and that got me through a lot of hard situations. And so, to negotiations, that's where my passion is. I've done over 500 business deals globally in the last 20 years. Big deals with massive companies like General Electric, Philips Healthcare, like Whirlpool, Walmart. So there's um, a lot of substance on negotiations. And I look around and I think about my journey around COVID, and I said, what are the things that are common about my passion and my expertise? And I landed on, I need to help people who feel or look like me come up through the ranks to understand how to navigate their careers in a predominantly Caucasian male dominated work life. And so over the years, I've helped a lot of women negotiate their careers, their salaries. And I started my business, and I do have an LLC, Arnisha. So, and it's DorothyMashburn.com is my website. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. I help women really fight for their worth. First, believe in their worth, and then fight for it, because I know deep in us we have the inherent ability for speaking for ourselves, even though at first we may not think we do. And then I help, I also help on the side entrepreneurs to be confident when they are placing a quote or a bid, to make sure that they're not undermining themselves, and all of the techniques and influence and persuasion that help them.
Yeah, Dorothy, definitely an important mission that you're after for sure. Stemming out of your journey as well. I love that. And I will ask you the same question as I asked Arnisha. If you could share with us some of the most important points in your process and framework on how you help women with not only salary negotiations but also price negotiations for their businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. So negotiations, one of the things that we do very well when we are negotiating is negotiate very well when we do it for others. But when we do it for ourselves, we always underclub ourselves. So one of the things that I recommend is when you're negotiating, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you are negotiating your salary, think about the person you love most in this world, and then say that I'm negotiating for that person, right? That small mindset shift really allows you to go all in and not underclub yourself. And and this is backed by neuroscience and research. So women especially do tend to, so if you're worth 200,000, you will be around 120 if you on a good day, if you're negotiating. And but if you think about yourself in the shoes of who am I negotiating for, the most loved person, whether it's a family member, friend, spouse, whoever it is, then you get closer to that 200,000, so 180,000 ish. So really, really think about that. That's a tip. And then never discount your services. So if you're an entrepreneur, think of yourself as, you're a Gucci or a Louis Vuitton. Do you ever see when you go into one of their stores, you don't see discounting. So when you discount your services, it already signals to the buyer or the customer that you are less than what you're saying you are. So instead, what you need to do is fine tune your sales pitch and show the value that they're going to get, show the ROI that they're going to get, versus saying, oh, yeah, sign up with me and I'm going to give you a 20% discount. But say, sign up with me at my price and I'm going to give you XYZ in return, 10x, 20x, whatever the return is. So before discounting anything, fine tune your sales pitch. That's what I would recommend. How's that sound?
Yeah, I love that. And wow, that's very fascinating. I mean, I can understand how that happens, that we tend to negotiate so much higher for others than ourselves. I mean, that's amazing, right? Because that means that we already have that skill and ability. And but when we're doing it for ourselves, it's so hard for us to see our own stuff. Just like it's hard for us to see our own limitations or even the value that we bring to the table, for sure. So I think your work is absolutely amazing, and it's definitely helping support the cause of empowering women to kind of even define their own, price, right? At the end of the day, I mean, who said that a certain role or even in business, you get to do this obviously more freely, but even when you're probably negotiating for a salary, I think it's the articulation of that value that you bring to the table and stick to your number. Just like
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much, Dorothy. And again, thank you to all our amazing speakers today. I'm going to go back for a final round and gather a final message from everyone today as we wrap up our event. If they could share, what does it actually mean for them to be a purpose-driven entrepreneur? And also, where is it the audience can further connect with them, or any gifts that they would like to share? So I'll go back to Dan for that one.
Thank you so much. Excuse me. The last message I'd like to leave with your group is when you change the way you look at the world you look at can change. And you don't need a brain hemorrhage to understand that. I'm a speaker. I'd love for you to visit my website, check out my demo reel, see what I can do for your group and organization. That's all I really want to share with your group. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure to meet all of you lovely ladies, and thank you for having me on the show.
You as well. Thanks so much, Dan. Marla.
Yeah, for me, I want to work with mission-driven entrepreneurs. And, growing up, I didn't speak up a lot. And so my mission is to help you speak up and speak so people listen, because that is extremely important. The fastest way to build your business is through speaking. And it's so important to become good at it. But it should be joyful. It should be fun and energizing, and not, it is the number one fear, public speaking. So what I want to do is make you get fired up about what you do and fire up your audience so they are excited to work with you.
Powerful stuff, Marla. Where is it that we can connect with you further?
Yeah, you can go to my website, which is just my name, marlapress.com. But the best thing to do, and a gift that I have for all of you listening, is it's my hot or not speaker evaluation. And you can bring any part of your speech, your title, your story, anything you want, and we'll work on it for half an hour, and you will walk away with your 1-minute pitch or your story. Whatever it is that you bring will complete and make it sizzle.
All right. Powerful stuff again. Thank you so much, Marla. Arnisha.
Yes. Okay. So what makes me a purpose-driven entrepreneur? My family. It's the first value that I have in my business, and it is the reason why I started my business. So just remembering that why keeps me purpose-driven in the work that I do. My children, my husband, my family, and what can you guys take away? Well, really, I'm here to impact generations. I want your business to not fizz out. So if you're ready, if you're like, even if you think you're ready, you don't even have to be 100% confident. If you think you are ready to add grants to your revenue stream 2024 and beyond, connect with me. But how? Yes. So 2 ways. You can obviously go to my website, www.manifestingonmore.com, or find me on Facebook, Arnisha T. Johnson, and I will reconnect you to where you need to go. But I'm super excited, and I'm thankful to meet all of you, and thank you for having me share the stage with everyone.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. And Dorothy.
Yeah, thank you so much. My purpose is, of course, I want to close the gender pay gap, because if we don't do anything, it's going to take us 80 years at current rates of improvement. So that fires me up every single day that I wake up and do this work. Absolutely love the community, love the people who have reached out and said, yes, this work is necessary. How you can find me is DorothyMashburn.com. I have all my freebies, all of the gifts that are available that I can afford to give away for free. It's all my intellectual property. Go check it out, please. There's a lot of good information there. DorothyMashburn.com. I also have a podcast, Salary Negotiations Made Simple. Subscribe and like and share. We have a lot of guests coming in talking about executive presence, leadership, confidence, mindset mastery. There's a lot of good value there. So would love to have anybody who's listening be part of that community and listening audience, and hopefully someday be a guest on the show. And what was the last question? How one thing they can take away?
Oh, no, any gifts that you have, if you do have.
Oh, yeah. Just check DorothyMashburn.com, and there's how to ask for a pay raise, how to negotiate your worth. There's a lot of good information there. And I'm also live on TikTok, and you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
All right. Well, thank you all to our amazing speakers, and I definitely encourage you to connect with everyone and start the relationship building process. I think this is an important piece to the work we all do, and that way we get to collaborate and we get to really shine more light in the work that we each of us does, because we're all authentic and unique in our own journey and then the work that we do. So thank you also for watching. You'll also find all our amazing speakers tagged inside our LinkedIn and also our Facebook group and page. And thank you again. And if you like to join us as our community experts, we have built an amazing community where you can get a lot of amazing benefits as an expert and purpose-driven entrepreneur and CEO, where you get to connect with other amazing people. And I will give you more details about that in this video next. So thank you so much to our speakers. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you with another event. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
I would invite you to join us as the community expert at the Life School Global Community. As a community expert, you will be participating in our monthly speaking events that we host for our community. You'll be an ongoing contributor to our global magazine. You will be warmly connected and introduced to other purpose-driven CEOs and entrepreneurs. You'll also be connected to amazing speaking opportunities, paid and also free speaking opportunities with other amazing communities. And this way, you'll increase your brand and visibility. You will build trust faster. But most importantly, you'll be part of our community that's always growing in over 30,000 entrepreneurs on our social media channels and also on our large contact list and network, and also with our partnering high-level communities of entrepreneurs and business leaders. I would like you to go right underneath the website on this video at Elona Lupari Coaching/events to find out more information on what this offer entails, and also if this is the right fit for you. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the other side as our community member.